Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Avatar merchandise review. And yeah, this one is one I've obviously said I would probably do a while ago, was unable to get it at the time of release. But finally it arrived just today. I have the Avatar The Last Airbender poster collection. I have no idea if this thing is even in frame at all. I think it should all be just about in frame there. But yeah, pretty big thing. And as a brief size comparison, today is the release date for the Legend of Korra Book 4 Balance art book. Here it is. And as you can see, there's the poster collection is a big book. The art book is really big and it's a lot bigger. This came in a pretty huge box when I got home today and saw what it was. But yeah, it's a pretty impressive book. I will have to review it this way because my desk just isn't big enough to actually flip the pages over properly and keep it on camera. So I'm going to have to do it here. But before we get into the poster collection, just with regards to the Book 4 Balance art book, I won't be able to get a video review of the book out today just because this one has been out a while and I want to get my review out, and because one, as you can see, it's still in the packaging. I've literally kind of just got home, opened this, just got back from the comic store after getting this. I still have to open this, read this. So I'll have a written review out on Avatar The Last Airbender online.com. When I have that up on the site, I will link it in the description below. And if you follow me on Twitter, Airspeed Prime, or Tumblr, again, Airspeed Prime, I'll post links to basically as soon as I get my review up for this book. But I just don't have the time today to do a video because it's already pretty late and there's not much time. Well, there's still actually light out, so I'm getting the poster collection done beforehand. So yeah, here we go. We basically have the book 3 cover here, the book 3 DVD cover here for the front. On the back, you just have a list of basically all of the pieces of art you're going to get in the book. 20 removable posters being the key word. And yeah, it just says in the back, a masterpiece of action and adventure, Avatar The Last Airbender has won fans of all ages from around the world. Has won fans of all ages from around the world. I feel like the word over is missing in there somewhere, but it obviously works. Relive this award-winning television series with a set of 20 high-quality, easy removable art prints in this deluxe Dark Horse collection. And yeah, retail is $24.99, and it's worth it for how kind of good quality the posters are and how big they are as well. Yeah, these are obviously selected. The actual selection of images is done specifically by Mike and Brian, so it's not like Dark Horse just randomly put this thing together. They were specifically chosen by Mike and Brian. In terms of the inside cover, as you can see here, you got our little kind of element symbols, I suppose, just the way their elements are written. And it says the poster collection featuring art by all the various people that have included art in this book. Includes Brian Konietzko and other people who we've kind of known about during the production of Avatar and stuff like that. But we'll get into them as we go along, and it's just Avatar logo. In terms of, I suppose, back inside cover, let me get that. Again, you have something very similar, just that same page with the kind of element written in traditional text. But yeah, then after the opening basically page, you have this again, it's a really big book, it's really awkward to do. You just have the kind of inside page which just gives you another piece of art, randomly, just that one, the Blind Bandit poster is there. It's not an actual poster in the book that's removable, but it's just a piece of art that they decided they wanted to go there. And again, that's just a credit, it's by Dark Horse Books, here the publisher is, collection designer, all the people that basically were involved in putting this book together, not the actual pieces of art within the book, just putting it together. And yeah, first piece of art is this, I believe this is actually one of the covers from one of the book 1 individually released DVD sets. I think it's volume 1 or 2, I don't know because I never got them individually because it probably wasn't worth the money. But it's a really nice image of Aang and really big as well. But there's that. And yeah, on the back of each print, it just has basically on the bottom, as you can sort of see there, it just says illustration by Brian Konietzko. And then if you really wanted to, you can pull them out. And I'm not actually going to take any out on camera, but it looks like it's going to be really easy to take them out. It there I don't, just by looking at it here, it really doesn't look like you're at any risk of actually like ripping the actual prints, taking them out. It seems like you just pull and they start to come out. Let's see there. Yeah. I just tried to rip the little corner out, and it's going to come out pretty easily. So it's definitely not the sort of book that I think is going to like stay together particularly well if you're looking through it a lot. But obviously they're specifically sized so that you can probably easily enough frame them. So that's the first piece of art. Second piece of art is this one, which we've already seen in. I think they showed it at one of the Comic-Con panels in at San Diego just after Avatar ended. And it's also in the Avatar The Last Airbender art book. But obviously this is Aang in the field with Bisons, and you know, it's kind of one of those images that has kind of become a sort of canon image when it's not really fully confirmed to be canon, in that like we kind of know the details about like how the Liber and Bison survived, and that like okay, a herd of them did settle at the Fire Nation. We got that in Korra, and stuff like that. But you know, was it to this extent where like literally Aang maybe a year on or something like that came there and there were suddenly this many? I don't quite think so, but I think it's one of those pieces of art that kind of it's just a really nice piece to see all these kind of airbender animals back and see Aang so happy. But yeah, again, illustration by Brian Konietzko. Here's one that's kind of basically Avatar kind of pilot. It's kind of Aang in that style that he's in the kind of pilot. It looks more like that than the actual like final show art. And you've got Momo there, and Fire Nation people underneath. It was definitely a promo piece of art for the show. Again, illustration by Brian Konietzko. Here's the first, I suppose, in-universe piece of art, and that is the kind of Lost Appa poster, and you've got Aang on the bottom there. And this is obviously the kind of special printed posters that were made when the gang was looking for Appa and stuff like that. It's pretty nice. And again, translation and calligraphy by S.L. Lee, illustration by Brian Konietzko. And here's probably one of the most, next one is one of the most used kind of promo images for Avatar The Last Airbender overall. In that it features most of the main cast, just Toth is missing, even though it is a Book 2 Earth image and you got Momo there. But them on the kind of walls of Ba Sing Se, even though it's not Ba Sing Se, it's just on walls. It's just meant to represent that they're in the Earth Kingdom. It's definitely a really nice image. Art by Brian Konietzko, colours by Hai Young Kim, painting by Brian Evans. Next one is a Katara piece, and again this is one that is used on one of the individual parts of the Book 1 water set when it was released. I think this is part 2 or 3 on this Katara piece, which is very nice. And this is illustration by Brian Konietzko as well. And again, here we have the cover, which is the complete collection Book 3 Fire DVD set cover. And again, this is definitely one of my favourite pieces of Avatar art ever. Just Aang in his kind of Book 3 design, half, you know, him as you expect, half him in the Avatar state, and then you've got Ozai in the background. It's that kind of classic, you know, Sozin's Comet kind of promo piece of art. Art by Brian Konietzko, translation and calligraphy by S.L. Lee, background design by Jevon Bue, B-U-E, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, painting by Brian Evans. Here we have another one of the individual Book 1 water set pieces, and that is Zuko, who I think it's probably part 4, I think that this one is. And obviously it's a really nice image of Zuko that perfectly kind of defines him in Book 1, which is very nice. Illustration by Brian Konietzko. And then we start to get into some of the kind of scenery pieces of art here. So here we have the Western Air Temple, as you can see by the fact that we've got a bunch of kind of upside down buildings and the massive kind of cliff and stuff like that. It's definitely Western Air Temple. Pretty nice piece of art, but again, you know, definitely it's these scenery pieces of art that I would kind of question being in this book, in that yes, these upside down buildings are definitely very like Airbender, and you can definitely define them as being from Avatar, but the fact that there's no characters in the picture is just a little bit like, it is a poster collection. I'm not sure why you're picking so many pieces of kind of background art. But background design by Hyun Cheol Young, painting by Kang Seung Chan. And next up is this piece of art, which is viewed this way. And again, like this is one of those ones where I'm just kind of like, is this the family's house in on Ember Island? I think that's what it is. The kind of royal family house on Ember Island. I think that's what it is. Otherwise, I have no idea what it is. And that's kind of part of the problem with some of the remaining ones in the book, and that it's just not massively clear unless you really heavily know your details about, okay, that's this location in the Avatar world, what it is. Like if you put this up on a wall, would it be instantly recognizable as being from Avatar? And really, apart from the Fire Nation symbol there and the fact that you can kind of clearly tell that that's a Fire Lord, it's not blatantly obvious that that's the case. So definitely a kind of little bit of a problem there. But illustration by Jean-Paul Bondy. And here we have the kind of the famous balcony, basically, in Ba Sing Se. Basically, this is the big moment, from the end of the series where, more or less, where the kiss happened. It's a really nice image, but again, it's like, you can tell that it's Ba Sing Se and it's from Avatar because of the giant wall in the background and the way the city looks, but nothing inherently screams Avatar from it, I don't think. Background design by Jevon Boo, painting by Brian Evans. Here we have another piece of in-universe art, and this is the kind of portrait of Firelord Ozai that you see a few times in the series. It's kind of, I think it's in the palace behind the throne, I think, and you see, or yes, it's on the walls, I think, actually. It's in like the Avatar and the Firelord, I think they go by, and you see one with Sozin, you see one with Azulon and Ozai and so on, so that's pretty cool. Illustration by Jae Woo Kim, color by Hai Young Kim and Jae Woo Kim. Next up, we have Northern Water Tribe. This is a really nice image, and this is very, very Water Tribe. You can definitely tell. You've got the Water Tribe symbol, and then you instantly know that's the case because everything's made of ice, and just the designs are very memorable from those episodes in the show. So that's a pretty nice one. Background design by Elsa Garagarza, painting by Brian Evans. Next up, we have the famous Turtle Duck Pond from the Fire Nation Royal Palace outside. And again, it's a memorable location because we know the characters, but how much more memorable would this piece of art be, or a similar piece of art be, if it included Ursa and Zuko? Maybe even have Azula there and have it be some like symbolic of the character arcs. It's just like a severe lack of characters in some of their recent ones to really get across what they want to, but it is a really nice image. You can see some of the Fire Nation capital in the background and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. This one is Fountain Detail by Elsa Garagarza, painting design by Enzo Baldi, painting by Brian Evans. Okay. Next up, we have this location, which I believe is the Eastern Air Temple. Definitely you can know because I think Aang met Guru Patik here, and it's definitely represents the differences in designs between the different air temples and the mountain ranges, and it's high up because of the Airbender stuff. But again, the lack of characters here, again, no real symbols for the Air Nation here, but it is a nice piece of kind of background art nonetheless. And that is a background design by Elsa Garagarza, painting by Brian Evans. Next up, we have the kind of pillar field that Aang fought Ozai in, and obviously it's somewhere in the Earth Kingdom. Very memorable location because of the last episodes and stuff like that. But again, it's just like this is probably one of the ones where it's just like, this means a lot to kind of me having seen the series, and it probably means a lot to a lot of Avatar fans. But you put this up on your wall, and it's just like, what is this meant to be? It's just a bunch of rock pillars, and there's the sun is out in the background and stuff like that. But we know it's kind of meant to be reminiscent of like the comet is like there and stuff like that. But it could be a lot clearer, I suppose. And again, like, just all you need to do, have Aang be there, and it's like a perfect image. And this one is background design by Jevon Boo and painting by Brian Evans. Next we have the Fire Nation Royal Palace, I think. That's it. This one's really cool because of kind of the lighting on it, but again, surprising lack of Fire Nation symbolism and stuff like that. but again, a nice image still. Background design by Elsa Garza, painting by Brian Evans. Here we have the Serpents Pass. Again, I know it's the Serpents Pass, and it's a really interesting kind of rock formation within the Avatar world, but it could be a better image. It's definitely one of those ones where, like, I can understand Mike and Brian having heavily worked on the show. It's their show. They're deeply involved in the art and the creation of everything in this world. I understand why they would choose it, but it's a bit misguided to me because you're putting this collection of pieces of art into a poster collection that you were selling to fans. And to me, that should promote them to make decisions based on posters that the fans would actually want. Like, we'll get into some discussion afterwards about what is and is not included here, but we'll move on for now. Background design of that one is by Seung Hyun Oh, painting by Brian Evans, translation and calligraphy by S.L. Lee. Here we have the inside of Wan Shi Tong's library. Again, it's one of those things where, like, you know this from the show, the kind of different pathways connecting the various parts, and it shows off how big the library is, which is kind of something you almost skip over in the show because you only see, like, a shot like this maybe like once or twice for a minute or two in the actual episode. And this one makes it very clear about how the design actually works out and the sheer scale of it. But again, like, it'd be so cool if Wan Shi Tong was actually in there. Background design by Enzo Baldi, painting by Jean-Paul Bondi, and then we go to the interior of the Fire Nation Palace, and again you have the dragon in the background, the throne, and very much Fire Nation just based on the colours. But I don't even think that's canon because I don't remember there being a dragon in the background of one of the throne rooms. But maybe I'm misremembering completely. But you can tell it's sort of concept art stuff. Background design by Elsa Garza, painting by Brian Evans and Hai Young Kim. So that is the poster collection. There's the cover again. Actually, here's the spine of the book, for anyone wondering. It's actually pretty cool. Avatar: The Last Airbender poster collection by Dark Horse, of course. That's what's in the book. The posters are cool. The pages feel really good. They're very thick. They're really high quality prints. They're easy to take out in terms of being removable. And I know that even having not taken one out, I could tell just by, like, starting to take one out that they were really easy to do that. So in terms of what this actually is, a collection of posters, it's really well done. It's definitely worth the money just because Avatar posters are relatively difficult to come by, most of them coming from, like, conventions and stuff like that. But the problem I would have with this is definitely the selection of the posters, in that there's a severe lack of ones that just involve the characters. Like, Zuko, Aang, and Katara are basically the only characters who get their own solo posters. And even then, Aang is the only character who gets, like, solo multiple posters. And then there's just the problem of, like, okay, you've given some of the characters are here, but, like, Sokka's only in one of these. Toth isn't in these at all. No Suki, no, like, Avatar Roku or any of the past avatars, like, no Iroh. None of these characters that are really notable that you kind of want a poster of. And then definitely I would question some of the decisions of some of the pieces of scenery, pieces of art. Some of them are very memorable, obviously, like the inside of Wan Shi Tong's library, the look out over Ba Sing Se that I showed you. But just other ones like that image of the kind of where the final battle in the series takes place with no characters is cool, but to me isn't poster quality kind of image. The same with just the kind of random, like, I think it's the Ember Island Ember Island Fire Nation royal family kind of house. It's just like, it's a nice image, but I don't want a poster of it. There are some really cool ones, like the wanted poster for Appa, the Help Me Find Appa poster, and the Aang in the field with all the bisons and lemurs. There's some really nice ones here. But, like, over half of this book is just background pieces of art. And I've been saying this since before the book was even released. I was hoping that actually getting the book and seeing them really big, physically prints in front of me would make me feel a little bit better. And I definitely do, because you can really see the art clearer and you can see the detail a lot clearer having the book right here in front of me. but it doesn't get past the fact that I'm probably never going to put up that poster just because it doesn't scream Avatar to me. It doesn't have any of the characters. It's not the most memorable location from the show. It just definitely feels to me like Mike and Brian, in choosing posters from this book, included ones that I can understand from their point of view as being creators on the show and being artists themselves, why they chose them. But in terms of a product aimed at the fans, it feels like at least like 7 or 8 of these are kind of like missing the mark in terms of what fans actually want. Like, I want a poster of Toth. I want a poster of all these other characters that aren't included here. And even at that, some of the other selections, like, okay, there's the complete collection book 3 DVD set image here. Why not include the complete collection book 3 or 2 one? Why not include some of the other individual pieces, DVD set pieces of art? Like, I'd almost be happier if this book was literally just the DVD covers, which would basically fill the whole book almost completely, and then you'd maybe include some of the really popular images like this one and stuff like that. But, you know, it's hard to complain, 20 posters for like $25. But I can't help but feel like this has to kind of be volume 1 of the poster collection for Avatar: The Last Airbender, just because almost everything was book 1 water related. Like, every time you see Aang here, it's like his book 1 design. You only see his book 3 design here. You don't see any of the other characters in their older designs. Like, Azula isn't in this book at all. Like, you get Ozai, but it's kind of the kind of portrait of him rather than the character himself. And, you know, maybe I'm kind of missing the mark on like what these poster books are meant to be and stuff like that. But just definitely for me, in terms of just my opinion on this right now, me as a fan, making this book and realizing that it's going to be sold to other Avatar fans would have made like complete different selections of posters for this book. Definitely a bunch of them I would have chose as the same, but I pretty much wouldn't have included probably any background scenery pieces of art that didn't include characters, just because this show is all about characters and they're what people really like about the show. But I'm going to end there. Yeah, that's been the review. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this review, and you know, even though I'm a little bit down on some of the posters, I definitely recommend this book purely because Avatar posters are pretty hard to come by. Like, I have a couple purely because I won Coronation a few times, and I got the book 4 DVD. Like, the book 4 Korra DVD is like the only way to like confirm getting a poster for relatively easy before the release of this book. So, at the very least, I hope this book sells well enough that they maybe get a volume 2 Avatar poster collection, or what I really want now would be a Legend of Korra poster collection, because that was the one where we got a load of posters. Like, we have tons of convention exclusive posters for Korra, loads of DVD covers all over the place. So they could definitely do something there, and I don't see why they wouldn't do a Korra poster collection at some stage. So, yep, that has been the review of the Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, I just hit myself in the face with the book, but it's fine, even though it's a big book. So yeah, that's been the review for the Avatar: The Last Airbender poster collection. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the book and the review. Other than that, thanks for watching, and bye.